Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. It's that time. It is tarot time with Cindy. I have pulled out a card asking for your energy, and then I pulled out a card asking for what you need to know. And they're interesting cards, so I don't know who I'm picking up on here. It either is your energy or it's someone around you that you're dealing with. I asked for your energy, so that's how I'm going to read it. This is the card that came out. Some of you actually, you might have Saturn in Taurus. You might actually have Saturn in Taurus. That could be your placement. The ostentation card came out, so that's your energy. And then this is what you need to know. So then you got this criticism. Yeah, criticism card, which is, then this is Mars in Virgo. Okay, so what I feel like I'm looking at is, yes, I could be reading for someone who has a lot of wealth, or maybe you don't have a lot of wealth, but you might display it in certain ways. That's a possibility. The Saturn in Taurus, like I took some time with these cards. I went into the book too, and I even Googled it a little bit, because this is like, it's basically talking about your energy. You don't have to have a Saturn in Taurus, okay? But there could be something that you are doing that is, you are doing something that is the right thing to do financially or economically, okay? So that's a big part of this card. There's something that you are doing that is the right thing to do for you financially and economically, but it might not be popular with others. So I don't know, like, that's literally, it says that in the book about with this card. And I feel like, well, that almost seems like really easy to understand, and then why this card came out with the criticism. And we'll get there in a second, because it's important to understand where this is coming from and what the basis of it is. There is also, so I don't want to just like, okay, because this card can be like, this is kind of like, well, I don't know, when I see this card, I think of sort of like a Marie Antoinette. Let's eat cake. They're starving in the streets, Marie. Oh, just let's eat cake. That's like, it's a cake. So, you know, I mean, it's that, because it does say that there can be a tendency with this energy to use or take advantage of other people's generosity to further one's own needs. So that's like, that is a possibility with that card as well that's coming out. Okay. The other bit of information too that comes with this card is that whatever is kind of going on here, like if there's some type of financial pressure, or if there is some type of financial or economic decision that you have made that may not be particularly popular, that the effects of this can be fairly long term, and that it can be a continuous pressure that you feel. Whether that is a continuous financial pressure that you're feeling, so there's some sort of decision that you make, and or the that it's not popular with other people. Because, and I'm figuring, okay, well, that's probably Saturn, because Saturn, right, is not one of the, I want to say it's almost kind of like in the middle to me, you know, like some of the closer planets to the sun, you're in and out all the time. Mercury's like a little bitch. She's over here, she's over there, all the time, like throughout a year. She's like all over the place. Actually, also interesting, because even Mars is, yeah, I don't know how long it takes Mars to rotate. But right, like, if we think of some of the more outer line planets, like Uranus and Neptune, like those frickers can take a long time. Pluto, they could take like decades to go around the sun. Where, you know, it can take a couple years. So I don't know. I'm just thinking about that. Like it can take, what is it, 2.5 years it takes Saturn to transit in and out of a sign. So this could also be something that's going on for you. Like you could be, maybe you need to, like, okay, the world is really different right now economically than it has been in the last little while. And maybe you're making a decision at home. Like maybe you're saying, you know what, kids, no more Disney Plus. No more Disney Plus. If you're Canadian, you might understand why I'm laughing at that one. That person is no longer in a particular position, but no more Disney Plus. That's how we're going to tighten the belt here, right? That's not going to be popular. Might not be popular with the kids, and it could also be like, well, you know what? We're not gonna go to the keg once a month, and have dinner, because it's making some type, but it is doing the right thing, right? Like if you think about that, financially and economically, it is doing the right thing, but maybe there's some, like, I want to say, because if you just take that away, if you just take it away, but there was more, it wasn't just going out and having dinner. Like, it wasn't just the fact that A, I don't have to cook, B, I don't have to clean the dishes, and C, we're having yummy steak. I want to say it's like family time. To me, that would be a symbol of, it's family time. We're all looking forward to this. We can leave the pressures behind because everyone, there's other people that are looking after, making the meal. But so in that, we get to talk a little bit more with each other. We're all sitting together as opposed to one or two of us in the kitchen and doing all the cooking, and the kids are somewhere, or maybe they're doing homework, or they're playing video games, or they're outside playing, or whatever they're doing. And then we all sit together for like 15 minutes and eat, and then it's done. Right? Like there's a benefit there. I want to say, so I'm sort of like, at this point, I'm kind of channeling this energy after sort of like looking at it and researching it. At this point, I feel like I'm more channeling it, and it's feeling like, okay, if you're going to do that, if you're going to take away, we're not doing dinners out anymore, or we're not doing Disney Plus, what can you add that is still being intelligent economically? Is still being intelligent economically. But maybe you do, okay, you know what? We're going to, instead of doing like keg night once a month, we're going to do once a month, we're going to do, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a meal where everybody could have like a little job to do and you could all sort of work together, but not, pizza. My son and I often will still do a pizza night together. But I've been to friends' houses too, and where the kids will do pizza, and it's great because everybody's trying to stretch out their own dough. You got a lot of the ingredients, like some of the kids, maybe they're grating cheese. It's like, right, like economically, you still got to eat, you still have to eat dinner, but it's like, how do you continue to have this really great social get together, right? So that it doesn't feel so much that what you're doing is unpopular. That I feel like I really feel like I channeled that part of it. Yeah, right? And maybe at first it's like, really? I don't want to be in the kitchen making pizza. I don't want to have any, come on, it's going to be fun. And, the more you get to do it, and the more, depending on the age of the kids too, they become older teenagers, they really may not give a fuck. I'll be with you. But anyways, so that's like an example, and I don't know what, right? Everybody's specifics are going to be a little bit different here. You do have to be like, there are like, and it does talk about the positives and the negatives, because there are positives and negatives in any sign placement. There absolutely is in every single one of them, and we all have these different signs. So it's important to consider these things, because it can be, like I said, it can't be you taking advantage of other people's generosity to further your own needs, or it could be scheming to gain some type of material advantage. Yeah. So, okay, so this is interesting. This is why I feel, okay, so we'll get into the criticism in a minute, because it is really important to understand where that's coming from, and I'm hoping that I'll kind of channel some of that as well, because I do have information. I actually have made some notes here. I've actually made some notes on these ones, because it's very specific, and I really want to tap into as many aspects of it as possible to kind of be able to, whoever is going to resonate with this, because it could be a lot. You could even be running your own business right now. Like, you could even be, like, even if we're looking at it, that aspect, because the first sort of aspect of it was like maybe doing something at home and it's not popular with the family, or maybe you always go on a trip or something like that, and you're not going to do that this year. You won't be doing that trip. See, this is the underline. It's Sun in Scorpio, which is interesting. Sun and Scorpio, because Scorpio, just thinking of the 8th house, like sex, death, and taxes, other people's money, esoteric sort of stuff. Then we have Mercury in Aquarius. Originality. The originality card, that actually, like, that is literally needing to take a lateral approach to something here. It's some sort of drastic change that needs to happen, and taking like a really different approach, going in a completely different direction. Actually, I think even this, because this is just like doing something completely, but it can be successful. So that's also interesting, because sometimes when people are all doing the same thing and then you decide to do something different, that can lead to success. It can. And the fact that it has this endurance is some sort of like, I don't know, wrestling with oneself, somehow being held back, keeping some sort of secret at bay with Scorpio as well. Keeping some sort of secret about yourself. I want to say that with Scorpio. I always look at the difference between like Scorpio and Pisces, because they can both have like these really secretive energies, things that are hidden. And I feel like, to me, Scorpio are the things that we hide about ourselves. And Pisces energy sort of reflects the things that are hidden from us. So this is like hiding something of yourself, hiding something about yourself, and needing to take some sort of really drastic approach. Okay, so now we get into so this is your energy, and this is what you need to know. Okay, so this criticism card, I want to talk about, this is definitely, I feel like this is right, because I even said, like, you could, with this ostentation card, you definitely could not be popular with others. Like that is specific. It talks about that. Now let's look at this, because this Mars in Virgo, this tends to be someone who's a perfectionist. This is also someone who could have very high standards. Sorry, something's playing out here. So I'm seeing something play out here. It's almost like somebody who's running like a florist, somebody who has a flower store, and they've put together this beautiful bouquet for an individual who's ordered it, and this person has wanted specific flowers, a specific sort of, maybe they want even certain scents, but I think most of the flowers that florists use don't even have smell anymore. So there's things that they've wanted here. But right, like this eye is really looking at this bouquet, and no, that is not what I asked for. That's not what, but yeah, I mean, like anyone else walking by would go like, that's perfect. That's great. That's actually really beautiful. I feel like this is someone, okay, if you are getting criticism about some sort of decision that you've made, so somebody here could be super critical, and this goes beyond whatever choice or decision you feel that you've needed to make here. Now, this is someone who expects too much. Say that too. That is someone who expects too much. This is kind of coming across to me like, let's say you've got 3 kids. I'm seeing somebody with 3 kids, and you used to do keg night. You used to go to the keg. Are the kegs still around? The kegs are, I'm like, if I'm buying a steak in the grocery store. I think I said that to my son the other day. I said, what the fuck would a steak cost at a restaurant at this point? But anyways, you've got 3 kids. You're not doing keg night anymore. You're going to do pizza night, right? And it's really a lot more economical. The dough is like, if you make your own fucking dough, it's really cheap. And the sauce, you can make your own sauce. You know, there's a lot of weight, right? But it's fun because everybody's still kind of, you can put the toppings on it that you want. And then you can kind of have fun and try somebody else's toppings. And you can all be working together. Like somebody can be grating cheese, somebody can chopping pepperoni, somebody can be like kneading the dough or whatever's going on, right? But this is like someone here who they're going to find something wrong with the cheese. I don't like the cheese that you got. I hate that cheese. How am I going to like my pizza? You know that I like the mozzarella ball. I don't want the grated stuff, or I don't want the pre-grated. So then you go and you get that. And then, well, yeah, the cheese is okay, but this dough, I don't like the dough. So then you go and you change the dough. And then, you know, like even the dynamic of having like so many different ingredients that would go into a pizza. It's like every time, so you have to be, I want to say you need to be careful with whoever this is. So I don't know, it could be more than one person. It could be one person specifically. And this person will never be satisfied. This person could be even looking at you and your lifestyle and criticizing it. Now, This is the other point with this card that is really important to understand, is because this is a super critical person. The behavior that this person puts towards others, they do that because they are compensating for what they know are their own failures. See how important, like that. So when this comes out, it's really interesting because there could be something that you're doing in your life that is not going to be particularly popular. You may have also, I got another example. I have a very close friend who has struggled enormously financially, and not through, like, really honestly, not through the fault of her own. The things that have happened to her are just like, fuck, again. And she is one of the most intelligent, hardworking, moral, wonderful people that I have known in my lifetime. She has finally come into a bit of money in life. She went and got herself a really cool little fucking car. She really did. And, okay, like, I don't know. I mean, I don't follow her life, like, intimately, constantly, like, what's going on? Is everything okay today? Is anybody criticizing you about this stuff? But I could see somebody like, why would you get something like you've said? And it's like, she just, always something that she wanted. She went and she got a make of a car that she's always wanted, in a style and everything. And she didn't, like, break the bank. Quite honestly, like, most of us would look at it and go, that's not really ostentatious. But it's, right? Like, she's had older cars. She's like, it's her special thing. But it's almost like, I want to take that, right? Because it could be something that you have done here. And maybe people who are like, wow, I can't afford a new car right now. That must be really nice. But at the same breath, I'm thinking, she's never been able to do something like this for herself. Like, the conditions that this poor woman has lived through times have been really, really rough, and that she is not deserved. Like, there many times I've looked at her life and I'm like, man, I don't know, is it, there must be some sort of past life shit that she is going through in this lifetime, because she's such a good and a kind, generous person too. So this is someone who's going to criticize you, okay, because they are failing. They feel like they're failing. And I feel like it is like sort of channeling this back to the pizza. I feel like it doesn't matter. Like, you can get the dough that they wanted, but now the cheese isn't any good. Or then you get the cheese and the dough that they want. And now, well, the sauce isn't very good. So you get a new sauce. That sauce isn't good either. Then you go through 3 or 4 different sauces. You finally get the right sauce. And, like, no, I don't like pepperoni. I wish you had, like, a roasted chicken. Fuck. God. And to me, that just gets to the point as well. You either eat this or you can have crackers. It's like, fuck, I'm not going to do all of that. Like, now, or you can go, you have an allowance, or maybe you need to get a part-time job and you can buy the ingredients that you want to make your pizza. Like, it's interesting, right? Because, I don't know, there could be, to some extent, there's always the possibility that there is valid criticism coming from this, whatever this is, that you need to know about. Because, as I said, there are instances where this energy is not very positive with others. It can be taking advantage of other people's generosity. It can be trying to scheme people so that you can have some type of material advantage. I don't know. Yeah. So, okay, well, let's do tarot. Let's pull out some tarot cards. So, the Saturn in Taurus, ostentatious. The Moon. Maybe you're afraid that this is how you look. Oh, that could be. Like, this, this could, okay. This could be, you could have, like, a bit of a fear here that that's how you think people view you. Because, right, like, there's this criticism, but what do you need to know? Okay, so that's interesting. I don't know, maybe you're almost like my friend who got, like, a little new car for herself. But, like, well, aren't you fancy? Things must be good for you. Like, okay, so you might be having this fear here that people are viewing you as taking advantage of them or being ostentatious, or maybe you're afraid that you're not going to be very popular with some sort of financial decision that you're making here. Okay, well, let's look at the criticism. What you need to know. Criticism. And we already discussed where this criticism can be. This can be coming from people who have very high expectations. Like, right? Like, you could have the nicest and the freshest flowers in town. I'm telling you, the nicest and the freshest flowers in town. You could have the best whatever you put in there in that water so that these flowers maintain like that fresh look for even longer than anybody else's flowers. This person is not going to care. And so, okay, and then let's say you charge a really good price for those beautiful flowers that you sell. And there's some people that are like, you know what? I can't afford to shop in the ostentatious flower. I can't afford to go there for flowers. I'm going to pick mine up at Costco, or I'm going to pick mine up at Walmart. I don't know if Walmart has flowers, but you know what I'm saying, the grocery store or something like that. But then there are people who will pay that good dollar for like that. You know what? These are really good flowers, and these flowers are going to last 4 weeks on my counter. As long as I put a little bit of fresh water in there, I know I'll get 4 weeks out of those flowers. When I go to the grocery store, I'll be lucky if I get a week and a half or 2 weeks out of those flowers. So, but there's the potential that this person will never be happy. Never be. And you know, it's really funny because sometimes I feel like too, people will specifically go to like a higher priced item like this, knowing that they're not going to be, knowing that they're going to complain about it. Like, I don't know. So let's just see what we pull out with this criticism card. Criticism. Watch. Okay. Okay. Sorry, I'm channeling again. Be careful. Because the way this finger is pointing at the throat chakra, this is criticism that could potentially block your throat chakra. It could make it difficult to speak. You could second guess yourself and sort of like lose your rhythm here. That finger really like looking, to me, this feels like the woman who's selling these flowers. She's looked them over. They're perfect. They're beautiful. But then this finger comes in and it's right at the throat chakra. It's designed, I feel like the criticism is designed A, to make you back down, or B, to make you second guess yourself or not be able to speak. The criticism, what you need to know about. The Hanged Man. Interesting. I'm getting like a few things. I'm getting like criticizing your spiritualism, which is weird. Oh, maybe. Criticizing your spiritualism, right? Because like having possessions is not seen as a spiritual thing. People are like, well, that's not very spiritual. If you have like a lot of possessions, or you have a big house, or, you know, I have no idea how, what's his name? Eckhart Tolle? I have no idea how he lives. I imagine he lives in a pretty nice house. But imagine that he does. I think, does he live out in British Columbia or something like that? I think he does. He probably lives in a pretty, but I mean, it's not to say that the man doesn't give value. He does give like, I haven't seen anything from him in a long time. He's still kicking around. But it's weird. It's almost like criticism. Hangman. Okay. There could also be, I feel like, this is a new perspective. This is a different perspective. It's kind of giving me the vibe here that this is somebody, maybe it's somebody seeing something in you that they didn't see before. And because they didn't see it before, they feel they need to criticize you. I find that really interesting, because that is something that I've experienced a lot, like being like kind of like here on YouTube, is that people will criticize me about something, and I'm like, but you actually don't know who I am. She's like you like they'll, but okay, it'll come through like in the readings that I'm doing. Like I'll do it. I just read the cards, right? I'm just reading the cards. And then sometimes people will have an association of who I am based on the readings that are coming out. And then suddenly the readings will change, like the messages that are coming through, and they'll start criticizing me or like, but on a personal level. And I think, but that is really weird because you don't actually know me. So why would you build, I mean, we kind of build impressions naturally, but anyways, I don't know if my own Mercury energy is in this reading, but okay. It is. It's like that feels like having a new perspective, having a different perspective here. So the perspective of you changes, so they criticize you. Again, if it's like the kids and they're not going to cake night anymore. Okay, let's go over to the moon. See, the moon to me feels a bit like you're afraid of being criticized, or you're afraid of being seen as ostentatious. The Eight of Swords, the Page of Wands, the Four of Cups, and the Two of Pentacles. I feel like this has the potential to create a bit of a sour energy between you and someone. Let's say this is a decision that you're making and it's not based on, it's not grounded in economics, okay? Let's say that. Let's say that there's a decision that you're making, but it might be assumed that it is. Like it could be somehow tied to that. Almost like somebody thinks that you're making this decision and you're making that decision purely based on finances and economics. Like the only thing that you care about here is money. And so then that's kind of bringing me back to like everybody in the kitchen and cooking. And let's say it's mom or let's say it's dad. Like there's one person here who's always doing the cooking, and they're saying, okay, well, I want to start changing some of the meals that we do. And then it gives us all the opportunity to kind of work together and create dinner. Like, right. And right, like let's say going from having like steak night at home to then having pizza. And I guess you could all get in the kitchen together and do steak night, but I don't know. There's more elements to doing a pizza night. And it's almost like, well, you just don't want to spend the money. You just don't want to spend the money to do steak night. So you're just being cheap. And it's almost like I feel like this feels like somebody doesn't see what you're trying to say. Somebody doesn't see what you're trying to say or isn't hearing what you're trying to say. And this is giving me like, just kind of feeling like, you know, I don't really like what's going on here. I'm not really happy with this. I'm not satisfied with this situation. And I'm kind of juggling a lot in it. And that's almost like, just can we all come together in the kitchen and do this together? Right? Like, it's almost like not recognizing that there is a lack of satisfaction here. So if you have a lack of satisfaction, and maybe it's because like if you're the person in the kitchen all the time cooking and everybody just comes and eats and then they all go and then that's it. And it's like, well, I can't really see us all together in the kitchen doing steak. So I've come up with tacos, I've come up with fajitas, come up with pizza. You know, there's a lot of different ingredients and toppings and things. But I would say that those meals would probably be heck of a lot cheaper than a steak night. So, right, you see what I'm saying? Where it's almost like something like, oh, you just don't want to pay for steak anymore. Oh, you know what? It'd be nice if we were all in the kitchen helping. Like, that's your energy. So it's really interesting because it doesn't look like to me that you are specifically making some sort of choice here on for a financial reason. But it might be perceived that way. So the criticism, the Hanged Man, the Four of Swords, the Eight of Wands, And ow, and the King of Pentacles. That's really curious. I mean, if we're kind of talking about sort of like your spiritualism or taking a pause here or something like that, or having a shift of perspective, it's almost like something that goes from healing and resting, and then we go right into like the financial. There's Taurus actually. The King of Pentacles is Taurus. So just hopping right into that, criticizing. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you got some new plants for the front of your house and your neighbor can't afford plants. What's the originality? Whoa, that just flew out. The Queen of Wands. That feels like really taking control here. I'm going to do what I want to do. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. I'm going to do it my own way. The underline is the Queen of Cups and the Six of Cups. It's kind of funny. It's almost like that person, that parent in the kitchen making all the meals. Putting a lot of love into it. Am I maybe not feeling very satisfied with what they're getting back? Or we all need to participate in this. Or this is the decision that I need to make. I'm going to go do the extended reading for this, my dear collective. In the extended, I'm going to ask, where will this new decision and lateral approach take you? And how can you best deal with this criticism? There's 2 options in the description below if you'd like to follow me to the extended. Thank you so much, everyone. Until next time, be gentle with yourselves. Bye.